book is basically trying to tackle this question. Universe is 13.8 billion years old, roughly. It's always changing. Earth is 4.5 billion years old. We're now, evolution, created us. We created artificial intelligence. So intelligence has created intelligence. We're baby steps away from superintelligence. And so what the book is trying to address is, what do we do now? Basics, you and I today did several things to not die. We looked before we crossed the street. We threw out moldy food. We changed the battery in the smoke detector. We wore a seatbelt. You and I both tried to not die. Now, like maybe someone does those things and they're smoking a cigarette. So there's like some conflict, right, in our don't die understanding, where we just don't want to die right now. We're okay dying sometime in the future. But what I've tried to do with the blueprint is I've tried to become best in world at not dying. I've tried to say, what if you measure as many biochemical reactions in your body as possible and figure out every single way your body's dying every day? And how do you stop that process from happening? And we get better and better and better and better and better. The future is just basically getting better at what we already do. We already have agreed upon in society, we don't want to die. So it's a very natural continuation of a game we all play. This is where I started having dinners at my house. I'd call them the first supper. I'd get, a few 10 or 12 people, my favorite people in the world, and I would pose a thought experiment. And I'd say, imagine that you had access to an algorithm that could achieve for you near perfect health, like you best in health, mentally, spiritually, physically, all the above. And you could say yes to the algorithm. The trade-off was you would need to do what the algorithm told you to. So eat what it told you to do, go to bed when it told you what to do. So you're following the algorithm. Would you say yes to the opt-in? And in that conversation, a third of the people would say yes, anything to save me from myself. A third of the people would say, well, yes, but I want to make a few changes. And it's like, no, lol, that's not the thought experiment. And then half of the people, or the remaining people, would be so offended about the idea that somehow their free will or agency or whatever they perceive themselves to be was the ultimate manifestation of their existence, and anything that challenged it, they would just be so offended they wouldn't even know what to do. And then for 2.5 hours as a group, we would debate the discussion. Like, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to make decisions? What does it mean to be able to actively do things that shorten one's life? What does it mean to be, 20 years old now and to be making decisions that affect your 60-year-old self? Who gets decision power? Which one of you? And so in those conversations, people would have existential crises. You'd be like, I don't know why I exist anymore. I don't understand my reality. And they'd pop back up and they'd be like, okay, I've reconciled with that thing. And now I'm on to my next. And so it was basically trying to capture the essence of a group of friends getting together to try to reconcile with each other. What does it mean to be human right now? And what does it mean to be human in 10 years from now? And how emotionally process all the complicated questions we're up against. And so the book is basically that, told through characters of myself. And I tried to basically make the debate so vigorous that you hear from one character and you're like, yeah, good points. And you hear from the next character, like, actually, no, I really agree with that guy, but really try to swing it really hard on the different sides of the arguments. There'll be a printed version you can buy from Amazon. Hopefully the electronic version will continue to be free. And then I'll have a recorded version. I'm currently trying to assess whether I will read it or whether I'll get some actors too. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that it lands in the way that it's an understandable zeitgeist shift. I don't know. I wrote the book in kind of a vacuum. It was based upon my life experiences, and I have gotten, I get a few dozen emails every day of people who read it, and they email me and they tell me about their thoughts. So I'm hopeful that it can hit, but you'll see.